Greetings, and this thing is on. Alright, greetings and welcome to Creative Briefing, an ad hoc show that looks at the many aspects of creativity and what it means to be creative and how to explore our own creativity in whatever shape or form we decide to manifest that in. So I look at, Friday means it's music day, Friday fun for some music. So I look at guitars and synths and recording and producing and just tools that can help us jam quickly and creatively. And throughout the week I look at digital tools for enhancing our design, photographs, video edits, animation, anything and everything. A little bit. I try and mix it up, try and vary it, keep it interesting, try and do a little bit something for everyone. All of the things that interest me. As I've said before, I'm going to try and branch out into areas that I'm less familiar with by getting some sort of guests onto the show, like from writers, photographers maybe. We'll see how that goes. Still trying to figure out the logistics of that. Anyway, so today it's Friday. I'm going to be playing the old guitar, and I'm going to be looking again at Amplitube from IK Multimedia. I looked at this briefly a few episodes back and just looked at the free modules, the amps and the stomp boxes that they have included in the free version for you to download for absolutely no cost other than maybe your email address. But today I'm going to look a little further at some of the features of Amplitube, like the 2-track recorder. The free version has a 2-track recorder, and it has a cycle function, so it can kind of act like a looper, kind of. The looper obviously allows you to build up loops on the fly by adding to the loop. The 2-track recorder is more like a sort of like a multi-track recording digital audio workstation type of setup. So you can't overdub on the same track, but you have 2 tracks to. What really enables you to do is to record a loop on one track and play over it on the second track with a different set of amplifier and effects. The paid version has, like, I think 8 tracks, maybe you can add more, but the free version is limited to 2 tracks, but that's sufficient to get us playing along with ourselves, like I've sort of demonstrated in some of the other instruments, like the soft synth VSTs. So and I'm going to look at also the paid collection of amps from Orange amplifiers. If you're familiar with Orange, they make really great amplifiers. So if we dig into the amp section real quick, sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to click down to the Orange collection. You can click on here, as I've said before, and go down to the Orange collection, and you have the different amps. But I find their menu to be a little bit fiddly. It's a little small, a little fiddly. I find the arrows just quicker to navigate. So we have a number of amps that Orange are most famous for, and I'll go through them just one at a time and see what kind of tones we can play. So the overhead mic tends to pick up the acoustics of the room and just the sound of the pick on the strings, which isn't too pleasant. I listened back to the last show and I could hear along with the output from the software. You also get that rather unpleasant sort of jangling of just the acoustic string. So what I'll do, I'm just going to go through the amps, play some tunes, tweak up some tones, and I'll turn the microphone off when I do that, so that we can hear the sort of pure output of the software and not hear the annoying jangle of the acoustics of the room. So I've never played an Orange amp other than just kind of going into Guitar Center and, you know, demoing. So I'm not completely familiar with the originals. Like I've said with the soft synths, I don't have hands-on experience with any of this stuff, so I can make an A-B comparison, but they sound distinctive and they sound really good. So each amp is slightly different. You can get a slightly different tone. It's not like they're all just the same sound wrapped in a different skin. And you do also obviously have all the, you know, the different cab setups, but I'm not going to be messing with that today. I'm just going to mess with the amps and let the cab section, the cab module, just auto select the most appropriate cabinet for that amplifier. Okay, if that makes sense. So the options on the amplifier is they vary. Some have more control, some have less. They all have some kind of tone control and some kind of gain. Some have a reverb, some have they have, like, you know, maybe a 2-channel, and obviously a lot of that stuff can be controlled via MIDI if you wanted to control it via a sequencer or through a MIDI type of foot pedal. All right, so that is very gainy. Do I have any stomps on? No, I've got turned on my stomps off for now. We'll play with that in a moment. But levels are really hot too. So the let me just switch to the full screen, get this a little larger, and you can see anything I change as I do this. I'm just going to go through and play a few tunes and see what kind of sounds we can get out of this. I'll then come back, I'll talk a little bit about adding some stomps in, and then talk about the recorder. So So that was the OR30. This is a Tiny Terror, very well-known amp of Orange's. It's a little compact, all-metal head, and it's I've always thought it sounded great when I've heard it demoed, say on YouTube videos or whatever. I thought this was a great little beast. So let's see what we can get out of it. So this is a bass amp which I won't play through right now. You could play the guitar through a bass amp, obviously, but I'll just continue on with the guitar-focused amp models here. I can come back and play with maybe some of the bass options. Look at the Ampeg selection for bass specifically another time. Let's finish up. I think the Dual Terror is the last one. No, we've got one more. Seem to do a whole lot of difference. So you can see how with some kind of MIDI option you can switch between the different channels on the amp. You can go to a nice clean, the fat channel is nice and clean. And jump it into the dirt channel. Let's take a look at that. A fairly noisy amp, pretty grungy. I think my favourites, I do like the AD30. It's got great tone. It's on the pitch, on the verge of complete breakup, but it's got a cleanness to it. It reminds me of, I don't know what amps Tom Morello played or plays, but he had a really heavy tone, but it wasn't like the Boss heavy metal fizz, grunge. It was heavy, semi-clean. So it's got lots of gain, but it's got a great twang to it. I do like playing on this one. It just feels, I don't know, you know, there's no substitute for moving air, being in the room with a big amp. But you know, this comes close. It gives me that same feeling that I just want to sort of play and, you know, play like all my favorite tunes. So I'm gonna throw down a few stomps real quick. I always like to add a compressor. With the volume knob. that's fun. What else? Oh yeah, I was going to go through the recorder. So let's have a quick look at the recorder. So we have 2 channels, and you can see when I switch to the next channel I have a whole different set of amps and cabs and stomps. So I have to record enable, which is basically monitoring. Now I'm going through like this channel 2, which hasn't been set up yet. So let's just, for grins, just go through orange stuff again. Of course I can enable them both, so I'm playing through both at the same time. Let's just... brighter, a little more gainy. And stomps, I'll add the comp again. Some chorus, of course. Just so much fun. Sorry, I didn't even mean to get into that, but that demonstrates the sound and the amp quite well. But what I want to do is I'm gonna turn off that for a second, go back to this. Let's get a slightly cleaner tone. sounds good. I'm going to have an attempt at recording a little 4-bar. Actually, I've recorded one here, but I'm going to delete that so you can see me do it again. We have a metronome, so we hit play. It'll So, okay, a little practice run through, and I'm going to hit record. Actually, I'll wait for it to get to about the 5th measure. Hit record. It will overdub. So it wasn't the greatest run through, a few flubs there, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm going to turn off snapping here, and I'm going to get that right into the start of the note and then drag that onto the, and let's see how on the beat I am with this. Actually, there's a pretty big mistake right in the middle there. I'm gonna redo that. Try that once more. That was a little cleaner, but let's see. So you can see we have basic workstation capabilities. I can trim my audio, I can realign it, get it onto the beat. That looks okay. So I've got my little, I'm not going to belabor that, obviously you could get that a little cleaner, but let's, so, and what, with that's recorded, it's now playing through this, so I can go and So I have this, I can adjust with this track highlighted, I can then manage its levels. I can obviously completely change the amp and pedal setup we have for it. But most importantly, if I now go to turn off monitoring for this and turn it on for this one, I can now go into this